racing at Iowa Speedway. Little bit of a staggered start, but the green flies anyway. Watch for some early movers as Will Power leads the field to green.
4 wide, Ryan Hunter-Reay hanging it out on the outside of that blue and gold number 20. We saw a big jump from Takuma Sato, but look at them jockey for position mid-pack.
That was brilliant, Ryan Hunter-Reay going 4 wide. Meanwhile, Will Power head down, staring forward and pulling away.
Romain Grosjean in that bright yellow and red DHL car looking for a move. That's Pato Award. This is Colton Herta. Let's go for a ride.
Even with you right there. Clear by 2, all good.
That's David Hunt, the spotter for the Gamebridge Honda there of Colton Herta. This is going to be an important relationship throughout this day, guys. The driver and spotter communication is key at a racetrack where you can run side by side.
The one difference this year is there are several new assets thanks to Hy-Vee, Jumbotrons, and some new suites. And I talked to some spotters. They're blocked just slightly, so maybe not as much eyes in the sky as they sit atop that tower. Scott Dixon looking to make a move now on Newgarden.
Shows that low line. Newgarden stays mid-track, no problem there. Keep an eye on that orange and black car right there. That's Pato Award, who won the most recent race here, the second leg of the doubleheader last year. This is Award.
There goes Dixon. Dixon to the inside of Newgarden going to 1.
But Newgarden, can hold the outside line there. He can roll that speed. It's a slightly longer lap, longer radius, but you don't have to turn quite as hard. You can roll a lot of speed up top. It's actually a little bit easier on your tires as well, as now Award is looking to the inside of the number 9.
And all these experienced drivers at the front, probably the least experienced being McLaughlin and Award in the top 5, but Dixon, Power, and Newgarden know tire management is key. Meanwhile, Marcus Ericsson pushing past Grosjean.
This is what Ericsson did a year ago here in Iowa. Ericsson is good at overtaking on this short track. High side, low side, wherever. The 2022 Indianapolis 500 winner is good in that Husky Spritz Honda. Currently runs in the 10th position. Dixon and Award are at it.
Yeah, Dixon is hanging onto that high side, trying to look after those Firestone tires. We're right on board here with Pato Award. Great drive off the corner here from the 5.
But to your point, James, Dixon's line requires much less steering input. Right here mid-corner, Pato's got to add a lot of steering to hold it down low and find the clean air on the wing. What does that do? Adds additional wear and tear to the front tires over this stint.
It's an 82-degree day here in Iowa. Check out some Firestone telemetry for you. Riding with the 5th place Pato Award, Mr. Fast Hands, one of the most spectacular drivers in the field. Did Newgarden just have a moment up ahead?
I was too busy watching Scott Dixon's line.
And I was watching the speed of Pato Award, bottomed out at 140 miles an hour minimum in turn 1 and 2. It was faster than that, 142 miles an hour at turn 3 and 4. These guys are absolutely flying around this track.
Goes Award, going to try to fire it in again.
He's good at driving really deep into 3. You see him lift a little bit earlier there, trying to roll that speed off throttle.
And this is very common for drivers at Iowa to fan out. Everybody looking for air on that front wing. It's free grip. There's no degradation to front aero as long as you have clean air.
You're looking at Will Power. Race leader has already put people like Santino Ferrucci, Connor Daly, and now Ed Carpenter a lap down. He is flying.
Unbelievable. This is what happens when you've got a race car and a balance that you totally trust and you're completely in touch with those 4 paws, all 4 Firestones. You know right where you are. You've got the feel over the bumps on the high line, the low line, and Power and McLaughlin and Newgarden continue to lead.
Time to say good afternoon to Kevin Lee. Kevin?
Hey, Diff, let's keep an eye on Pato Award. Running in 4th right now, and he was told, don't worry about it if you can't go forward. It's about the long game. You might be able to get him at the end of the stint, and from every driver I spoke to, that's the big unknown. It's one thing to be fast early, but can you be fast at the end of the stint when the tires start to wear? I asked him before, do you have anything for those Penskins? He said, oh yeah, in race trim, I think we do. Dave.
For Colton Herta, the Iowa Speedway's not been his best track in 5 starts. His best has been 12th at the finish. And it was going okay. He qualified 6th, he started 6th, but now he's fallen back to the 10th position. He was just radioed by his crew that the right side tires are at peak temp. It means it's not working the way, the car is not working the way it should, and Colton's going the wrong way.
Colton is one of 4 drivers, Dave, coming off a season-best result on the streets of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So the young Californian would like that to vault him in momentum forward to another one today. It'll be hard work, but we'll see how we go. Long way to go. 35 laps into a 250 lapper, and the yellow and white XPEL Chevy Scott McLaughlin is getting closer to his teammate and race leader Will Power.
That's the important part here, is as Will cuts through this lap traffic, he is not able to gap the 3 of Scott McLaughlin at all. They're 2 seconds clear of Joseph Newgarden. He's 2.5 seconds clear of Padua Ward at the moment. So right now, Will doing a great job getting through that traffic, but McLaughlin matching him basically lap for lap, car for car, not letting him pull away.
And how about this? We're 36 laps into this race, and the next car up the road for Will Power is Canapino. And ahead of that is Rahal and Rosenquist already. I mean, that's awfully early. It just shows the dominance so far out of Team Penske. Canapino doing a nice job running against his more experienced teammate as Sato and Dixon teammates side by side.
Dixon's going backwards. Scott Dixon is going backwards after starting on the 2nd row. He's back to 9th now. Let's show you what happened to the PNC Bank Honda. Here's the teammates. Sato coming from the right-hand side of your screen.
You see Dixon right on that yellow line you talked about. He had a little wiggle. T-Bell, he got all the way down to that line, little wiggle, trying to stay below the lap car of Stingray Rob. But look at these two still going at it. They've come up behind Santino Ferrucci now, trying to navigate the fight for position with each other as well as getting through lap traffic. That's what is so tricky here at Iowa, and it can be such an ebb and flow. It just takes one little hiccup, one little mistimed move, and the run that a car behind you can get is huge. Look, Stakuma not able to clear Ferrucci as quick. He was almost ahead of Dixon 2 laps ago. Now look, he's 5 car lengths back.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Dixon got on the radio and said, hey, tell Sato to chill. We need to protect our tires and get deeper into this stint. Then we'll worry about it. We've got to catch the leaders right now.
Shouldn't be any surprise that this youngster from Illinois, David Malukas, is running well on an oval. He finished just off the podium at Texas Motor Speedway earlier this year. And here he is, flying the flag for Dale Coyne Racing with HMD Motorsports, doing a great job, and he's not that far off the back of the Indy 500 winner of a year ago, and goes on the inside of Marcus Ericsson.
Ericsson got high into the marbles that are already starting to form around the high groove of this racetrack and had to back out of it. And like I said earlier, you get your tires just a little bit dirty. It doesn't come back right away. It can take a full lap, sometimes 2, to clean them up, and this is not a good sign. Colton Hurd of the Gainbridge 26 coming in really early, Dave, for his first pit stop.
Lap 41, here we go. Who will follow? We knew that Colton's car was not operating the way it should. He had been hurting those right side tires, going the wrong direction, trying to wait. Big problem now, that left front.
And under green flag conditions.
That's going to be 3 laps lost. Then he stalled it. Wow. So if you pit from anything further back.
They're not happy with the gun and the nut.
Oh, this is devastating. So many laps down, you're going to go with such a short lap time. This essentially is a day ender for the 26. They can get back out there, but they will not be in contention. 0 chance of recovery.
Oh, boy.
Bad to worse. Brutal. If you look at a traffic jam out there, there's a mix of old tires, new tires. Yes. This is such a crucial part as we see one of the McLarens I think that's a Ward, yeah.
So Padua Ward at lap 60. You've got Colton on newer tires, some others trying to hang on that same 3-stop strategy like Malukas in that black, white, and red car.
Elio Castro Neves in the white and pink. He's on new tires, so he's making up a lot of ground. Will Power, as Townsend mentioned, he is in that first pit stop zone. He's yet to pit, so too McLaughlin, Newgarden, Palou. This is Alexander Rossi in. Made up, he was the biggest mover in the opening stanza of the race. Kevin, here's Palou. Pardon me, O'Ward.
From 4th, so they're right on target. Yes, you'd like to get to around 62, but they'd like to get a caution at some point that makes up that, and plus there's a little more grip later on to make the tires last longer. Marcus Ericsson, 2nd in this year's Indy 500, last year's winner, doing okay, staying in the top 10. He makes his first stop for Fresh Firestones and also Shell Fuel.
Guess who else is coming in? Race leader Will Power, here he is.
That was a monster stop there from the McLaren crew up. Pato O'Ward 5.7 seconds as we see the Verizon Chevy Will Power coming down pit lane.
And this is where your team is so critical because you don't need a full tank of fuel. You're probably only putting in 14 gallons versus the 18 as Power comes to his box. Fastest in the business right here, Kevin.
And one thing we saw yesterday is he got to overlap 70 on a set of tires in practice, so he can make them last. Looking for a win in his 17th consecutive season. First stint done. Will Power, all good.
Alex Palou stayed out for Chip Ganassi Racing. The top 3 came in, top 4 with Pato O'Ward, but Palou stayed out for an extra lap. How's that going to work out for him? He dives for pit road now as we speak in the American Legion Honda. Championship leader is in. Kevin Lee's there. Kev?
So for Alex Palou, this is a situation, if you want to think championship, he doesn't have to win the race today. He's up by 117. He just needs to avoid disaster. But the philosophy has been, hey, if we got a chance, let's go for it. He's getting more and more comfortable as he goes on these types of tracks.
Yeah, we talked about that maybe being a weakness for him, but he had raced his way up from up to P5 before that pit stop sequence. So showing that he can make the tires last and move up at the same time. Palou is really checking all the boxes.
Pato O'Ward maintains 4th, Marcus Ericsson 5th, Sato VK, who's on a very different strategy, sits there in the 10.
Careful, Scotty Mack, working that high side as
Still
the
there.
marbles
Got a
grow.
one down here.
And I just want to point out how quickly things can change. Newgarden was 5.5 seconds back, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
He found 3 seconds as someone's on the
Rahal.
wall. It's Graham Rahal, still under green. Not even sure if it was heavy contact or contact at all, but his tires will be so dirty. On board with Rahal here. Struggle bus, big time.
He was up there in the grey, right on the edge of the wall. Don't see anything
All right,
on that
settle
right
back.
rear tyre. And the message is, that's all right, settle back in and get going. Meanwhile, at the front, the teammates are at it. Here comes Scotty Mack. McLaughlin down on the inside, can't get the lead away from Power.
See what happened with Graham Rahal here. It just got a little too high there, as we were talking about, into the dust and the marbles, and it almost got away from him. Excellent save from Graham Rahal, but look at who's coming. Scotty Mack looks way stronger at this part of the race now than Will Power.
Especially off of turn 2, but look at the traffic jam right in front of them.
He's gonna
Will
get him
Power, he's trying to pick which line he thinks is going to move. McLaughlin's just going to go the other way. You got to go wherever the driver in front of you doesn't go to try to get that clean air. You know, when you're the leader coming up on lap cars like this, it's like being in the left lane on the freeway and coming up on a truck sat there right at 55 miles an hour. You just want to find a way by, but they're right where you want to be.
Right, outside with the 12.
Oop,
Still there.
that was close.
Still there.
And Power able to put Grosjean in between him and McLaughlin momentarily. McLaughlin clears the Andretti Autosport driver.
But again, more traffic right in front of Will.
Meanwhile, Newgarden now 1.2 seconds back. There's the black and white Hitachi Chevy now into the frame as McLaughlin challenges Will Power to the outside. I like the way McLaughlin's working this. Pretty conservative on the decision making.
Watch the orange and blue car right there. That's Dixon, who is down a lap but could get back on the lead lap if he can get past his countryman McLaughlin and Will Power. If a yellow would have come out, that would be fortuitous for Dixon. That'd help things. No yellow at the moment through 88 laps.
Tiptoeing at 180 miles an hour. Tire dig, aggressive. The grip is falling off rapidly here. You're going to have to go another 35 laps until your next pit stop if you're on the 3-stop strategy like Team Penske. Here comes McLaughlin.
Here we go. Pass for the lead. Almost, but then traffic's going to get in the way of Scott McLaughlin. Power goes high and rounds up Helio Castro Neves.
Neves was kind of sitting in the middle of lane 1 and 2 there. Power smartly went to the high side there, but again, every move he makes, McLaughlin's right in his wheel tracks, taking the spot as well.
And Will Power working lap traffic here, using them as a pick sometimes. He knows where McLaughlin has to find clean air, so Power is going to pass and position his car to make it really difficult on the driver of the number 3.
And look at the run from Dixon off of turn 2. That blue and orange PNC bank machine trying to get on the inside of McLaughlin in that yellow and white Penske car.
It's a big deal. If Dixon can get past these two, he's on the lead lap. If a yellow would have come out, bingo.
Talk about a sandwich. You're trying to lap cars. You're trying to protect against guys trying to unlap themselves. Will Power now clears Ferrucci to the high side.
Wow, look at that. Here comes Newgarden. All of a sudden, it's 3 Penske cars together. Newgarden from 5+ seconds back. He's now in the mix.
Well, you're battling it out here, and one of the things I love about Team Penske is they let everybody race for the win. They always have. And the question now is, who blinks first? Who comes to pit lane, tries to do the undercut on fresh tires? Who thinks they can stretch it? Typically on short ovals like this, you want to stay out as long as you can justify the pace so you don't get caught out with the yellow.
And you see Christian Lundgaard here in the Hy-Vee on board. He's driving through the leaders right now because he's pit on the early side. He's got those new tires, and look at it. It's like a video game. It's like getting the star in Mario Kart when you get those new tires running around a bunch of drivers on lap 40, 50, 60 on their Firestones. But it's such a crucial part of the race.
Here we go.
Got to run.
Oh, look at this. Newgarden's not sticking around anymore.
It looked like he threw a shoulder at Will Power there at the exit of turn 2.
Well, he's built like a football player, and he storms his way to the front.
McLaughlin might get Power. Power just had a bobble there in the middle of 3 and 4. How quickly things can change.
Getting close to halfway, McLaughlin had to get out of it big time there.
You saw as Will Power came down to the line as we see Graham Rahal now laps down going around the XPEL Chevy. But as Will Power came down in front of Scott McLaughlin, it took all the air, all the downforce off the front of that number 3. He had to lift off the throttle to stop from going into the wall. That's about controlling the air on the car behind you. That's what Will Power was inadvertently doing there.
I try and stop my sons from saying, wait, what? But wait, what? There's only 6 cars on the lead lap. Come on. Uh-oh, what happened to the Verizon Chevy driver? How bad is it? Was it a glance? Was it a hit?
Well, McLaughlin got by.
We good, Will? We good?
So did O'Ward.
And they want to hear from him. How's the car? What happened? Well, Will Power's passing cars right now, so hopefully just a light glance, and he can regroup and refocus because he's only 20 laps.
But we're okay.
Only 20 laps into this stint.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any obvious damage. Maybe just a glancing blow there on the exit of turn 4. Lost a couple spots, but
hitting the wall is what ended his Indianapolis 500 this year. He was even, he said, I didn't even know I hit the wall. The car was so good, but obviously I couldn't finish where I wanted to. This is what happened.
So you see him, the red-black car there, just running a little bit off the wing there of one of the ECR cars. I think that was Carpenter. Did definitely brush the wall. Well, that's not a small hit on an oval.
And all he can do when he's on his ride going towards the wall is try to soften up his hands and take it as much off the throttle as he can without spinning the car out by pitching the car too heavy on the nose, and just ride it out and then feel it in the next corner to know if there's been any damage.
An IndyCar race here at Iowa Speedway has never gone so long without a caution. 152 laps to be precise, and the caution flew because of Rahal Letterman Lanigan's Graham Rahal. Unfortunately, the 15 is out of today's race, and here's the reason why.
How did it happen? Graham Rahal looks to be on the outside of Marcus Ericsson. And how many times have we seen that here? Just a little high, and he's a passenger at that point. It looks like the steering arm might have broken on the initial contact with the right front.
Lucky to not be collected by anyone coming up right behind him there, and a good job from Graham to keep it down on the infield.
That first car to come by is Kyle Kirkwood. Watch this. Kyle Kirkwood flashes by in the pink car you see to the right there. Kirkwood, the last car on the lead lap.
So this is definitely going to mix up strategies a little bit. Right now, the leaders over 20 laps, almost 30 laps now run on these tires. That's a pit if you're the leaders for sure. Only 6 cars on the lead lap, but then a further 5 cars 1 lap down. They'll all get a lap back during the wave round. They'll come in and pit. Essentially, I think we're going to see 11 cars all squared up on the lead lap on the same strategy.
Race leader Joseph Newgarden is in. Dave Burns standing by.
Tim Cindric reminded his driver that he doesn't have to go crazy here because there's this long buffer of cars between himself and second place McLaughlin. So take your time. Crew goes to work. No changes for the 2, Kevin.
It takes Scott McLaughlin a while to get down there on the XPEL Chevy. He's actually a little bit around the bend. First is Will Power to hit his mark. Newgarden has already released. He's coming around the corner, so he's easily going to win this race off pit lane, it looks like, while McLaughlin and Pato O'Ward also make their stop. This was big with Marcus Ericsson. He's coming in the red and white Husky car because he pitted way earlier than everyone else, so he's back in the game.
Here we go, Marcus Ericsson jumps out of the line, goes past Will Power. Kyle Kirkwood in that pink car. He's lining up for a shot as well.
Watch out for Pato O'Ward, that orange and black Aero McLaren on new rubber. This guy can be brave.
Inside on Scott McLaughlin. Mr. Fast Hands on the inside of Scotty Mack, can't quite get it done.
When you've got clean air and new tires, those speeds go up, those corner forces go up. You're holding your breath in the corners. The G's are so high. That's what these leaders are experiencing right now and trying to find a way past each other.
Here comes O'Ward again. He knows this is a prime opportunity. Once things settle in, the advantage goes right back to Team Penske. They have been utterly unchallenged on used tires. O'Ward needs to make it happen right now.
82 laps to go here in Iowa. Newgarden, McLaughlin, and Pato O'Ward. Power's been able to get those positions back from Marcus Ericsson, and he was being challenged by Kyle Kirkwood as well.
See on track there, the blue and white car kind of at the top of your screen. That's Alex Palou. Behind him, that bright green Hy-Vee car of Christian Lundgaard. He is laps down, so it's that top 7 on track on the lead lap before the lap cars start mingling in. But again, a great calm drive, consistent drive right now from the championship leader right now. He'd only lose about a 15-point, only take a 15-point loss off his championship lead if they were to finish as they run right now, but still a lot of racing left to go. And the conversation we were hearing this driver have here, Joseph Newgarden, with Tim Cindric on the pit lane, was something about, can we maybe make it to the end here? He said, we ran about 80 laps last year. There was 86 to go. Sorry, it was 80, I think it was 82 to go when we went green. It's not impossible, but it is very difficult to make not just the fuel, but the tires last that long. So these teams are debating, do we try to save the fuel, or do we push hard and split the end of this race into 2 stints?
And here comes the race leader. Joseph Newgarden is in, along with Scott McLaughlin.
Newgarden almost went into the wrong pit stall there, finally got to the right spot. He'll get 4 fresh Firestone tires and shell fuel. McLaughlin is away, Kevin.
And so is Joseph Newgarden, so there is McLaughlin back out. Let's see how it all cycles out. Everyone was easily inside the window. They do not need to pit again, those that just stopped.
This is a tricky time right now, guys. I mean, this is what we were just talking about. Were you going to split, or were you going to try to go for it? We know what the leaders did, try to split that last stint pretty evenly, 42 laps to go, but what does Alexander Rossi do?
Newgarden had about 8 seconds on McLaughlin before they pitted, so as things cycle out, we'll have to see, can McLaughlin, was he able to do anything to make up that gap? A lot of it has to do with where you come out in traffic. As we look back for the Expel Chevy, there's McLaughlin passing start finish. He gained about a second, 6.9 the gap now, first to second.
What's happened here on the right of your screen is Devlin DiFrancesco.
And teammates. Santino Ferrucci and Benjamin Peterson.
Oh boy, this is a mess. Ferrucci was patient there before he had to get through. Was there a collision? Just a mix-up? What happened between the 2 AJ Foyt Chevys and the Andretti Steinbrenner Honda?
And the 2 AJ Foyt cars are pitted next to each other in pit lane. They're getting Benjamin Peterson fired up. Look at Will Power. Marcus Ericsson side by side in turn 3, battling for 4th position right now. Ericsson in the red and white Husky Ice Prince car.
Ericsson had unfinished business of a year ago here. He was desperate. He was salivating to take the fight to Team Penske this year based on what he did last year. And he said, I didn't quite have the car last year to really take the fight to him. Now, Ericsson finds himself as high as he's been in this race in 4.
It's really brilliant when you think about the fact that Ericsson is ahead of Scott Dixon and Alex Palou convincingly today. I know he's won an Indy 500, but this might be his best ever oval drive, pure in terms of what he's done in the seat today, making the adjustments and the balance of his race car. Very consistent, staying on top of those changes as we take a look on pit lane to what happened. Benjamin Peterson pulling out, Devlin DiFrancesco coming in. We haven't seen the full story, but that could be an unsafe release for the 55.
Yeah, we saw it in Texas. An unsafe drive-through
and there
penalty.
comes the penalty, a drive-through for Benjamin Peterson, which is a huge penalty on a short oval. Gap to McLaughlin, about half a second tighter as Newgarden stacked up a bit behind seventh place, Kyle Kirkwood and Scott Dixon. So Newgarden now making some critical decisions. Do I just ride? Oh no, you don't, especially when Kirkwood gets loose like that down in turn 1.
It's just about being heads up. Again, he's looking 3 cars in front. That's Scott Dixon immediately in front of him, but he's already reading the traffic in front of Scott Dixon to know where Scott's going to place his car. So that he can make his decisions on where to put the 2. And this, again, is just where he is so good. Look at that slow car up top. Everyone's got to check up a little bit.
Gap down to 2.4.
Santino Ferrucci, that is, that he's just stucked up the inside.
Gap down to 1.7.
Here we go.
Gap down to 1.3, 1.1.
6 laps to
go.
And Kirkwood comes back on Newgarden. This is going to slow him up and allow McLaughlin to get even closer. There's the yellow car. That's the X-Bell Chevy. Has the teammate got a chance on Newgarden?
You bet he does.
5 laps from here.
How hard is Scott Dixon going to make it on Joseph Newgarden?
He's battling Joseph in the points right now. He's probably not going to help him at all. That's Connor Daly way up high in front of the leader. There's Newgarden going by, staying green.
Now Dixon, the next one to try and negotiate. 4 laps to go from here.
Outside.
And McLaughlin in his own traffic as Newgarden deals with plenty.
Newgarden just putting an exclamation point on it. He's lapped Dixon, who is in 5th place as we are coming to 3 laps to go. He's lapped inside the top 5.
He's about to lap his teammate, the pole winner, Will Power, who led 119 laps in this race. That's
so does
crazy.
Will Power help his teammate? Or does Will Power say, I can't get lapped by the guy that I started in front of in this race? How's this going to play out?
I mean, 3 to go. It's a healthy enough gap. I think he's more worried about Ryan Hunter-Reay there in the blue and gold car. Just get around him, pedal this thing for the next 2. You don't need to pass Will. You just need to keep Scott behind you.
1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds.
Looking pretty good now for Newgarden.
He said he was just chilling before. He's going to manage this. And when he comes out of turn 4 this time, he'll see the white flag in front of a big crowd. 7/8 of a mile to go. Until Joseph Newgarden gets win number 5 here at Iowa Speedway. He was filthy after qualifying. He was so frustrated, he was angry, and that anger is going to dissipate now. He is the king of corn country. Iowa Speedway sees Joseph Newgarden win again. That's win number 5. And he is dominating the oval competition this 2023 season.
And Pato Award making his way around as well. Your top 3 finishers. Again, 5th win here at Iowa. Could easily have been 6th if not for a mechanical failure last year late in race 2. This is the house that Joseph built.
Just watching more reaction from Joseph, and the team was getting a selfie off the front wing. And Joseph, with you now. A little frustration there at the end, we could tell. But you won, man. You dominated.
Yeah, it's a great day. Look, I can't. My team is just—they're unbelievable. You know, they always give me a great car. I show up every weekend, and I feel like I've got, you know, the best of the best behind me. And so, Team Penske, I'm proud to be a part of this team. Proud to have partners like Hitachi and Team Chevy. Team Chevy has been, you know, really tremendous to us. They're always working hard, even with our feedback. You know, they always take it and they put it to use. So, I love Iowa. Obviously, it was a great day. It's tough in IndyCar. You know, these guys that are about to go a lap down, they always run the leader really hard, and that's the name of the game. It's legal, but man, it's a little frustrating at times, and it's gotten worse. It was much worse here than I've ever had it. So, you know, I'm gonna study the tape. I'm gonna be better tomorrow, because, you know, if that's how it's gonna be, then I've just got to elevate my game for race 2.
You told me yesterday, having that moniker of the guy here, you know, the man, you can't rest on that, and it doesn't look like you did today. There was a time when you were down and you found a way.
Yeah, look, we did not start where we wanted to be, and I was right from qualifying. I was so frustrated that we unloaded off the truck pretty much perfectly. I mean, Luke Mason did an amazing job with his car. It was exactly where it needed to be, and then, you know, to qualify how we did was I've messed up qualifying so many times here, and it never gets easier. I'm always so mad at myself that we didn't get that right. And it was like that in the beginning of the race. It took us literally a stint and a half till we got the car just where it needed to be. But once it was comfy, I think it was a car to beat. I really do. And we needed to manage it, and we did that. It doesn't guarantee anything for tomorrow. I promise you everyone's going to get better. They already got much better from last year, so we got to stay on our toes. Maybe we can do another one.
Congratulations. Joseph Newgarden is now a 5-time winner at Iowa.
Watch the Hy-Vee One Step 250 Sunday, July 23rd at 2 p.m. on NBC.